Hi, this is 72 Day Star, and this is a reading of a lengthy response on Mars Summit on Facebook. It's a response to a Christian that I've been having an exchange with for some time. It hasn't been altogether polite, but it hasn't really gone off the rails yet, and we'll see how it goes. Gary wrote, I don't know why you would think Romans 1:20 is a firewall for me. It's not just you, Gary. That's the function of that verse and others like it. For example, Psalm 14:1. The idea that a rational person would reject eternal bliss merely at the cost of admitting the self-evident existence of God and trying to follow his moral prescripts seems bizarre and troubling to a believer. A thought blocker is taken from the work of Robert J. Lifton. He studied totalisms, what most people would call cults. Cults or totalisms have ways of keeping their followers locked in. No matter if you're looking at some guru's followers in rural India, a Scientology org in California, or an evangelical church in Alabama, they all work pretty much the same way. The thought blocker prevents the followers of these groups from thinking about the point of view of their opponent, or it prescribes what to think about their disagreeable interlocutor's point of view, often by appealing to the vanity of the believer. Psalm 14 tells us that people who cannot admit the existence of God are fools. Well, isn't it nice to not be a fool? Romans 1:21 reiterates that. The consideration of your opponent's position is then made deliberately biased. Does this seem like something a confident follower who believes that God's eternal power and Godhead are clearly seen would need to say? Does this seem like a necessary tactic when God knows his followers and they know him? Why does Christianity need to sink to the banality of every man-made cult's method to keep its members in line? This is not the problem of hiddenness. This is the problem of mimicry. Why would the source text, methods for maintaining its membership, and condemnation of those who do not believe be no different than the many other religious traditions and cults that anyone who are not a member of the scrutinized group would admit is exploitation based on a false hope? Your verse in Luke is not a thought blocker per se. It is more about spiritual masturbation through self-righteousness and narcissism. There are lots of verses to this effect. You are not worthy, but nonetheless, the most powerful being in the universe chooses you. I used to think that and weep. It was a wonderful feeling, but a vanity I can no longer indulge in, because I cannot believe it is true. You talk about me mocking you as if you were the victim of my malicious, arrogant attack? I invite anyone to scroll up to the top and note the tone of Gary's first responses to me. Gary added, we also hold to the doctrine of the kingship of all believers. Through Christ's blood, Christ has made us into priests and kings, in all caps. Oh, congratulations, Your Majesty. Don't you see the supreme narcissism in that? Do you think that is actually healthy? Do you think that is not a feature of just about every cult mankind has conceived? You're all very, very special, but unworthy sinners. However, because of your wonderfully honed skill of ignoring contrary evidence, i.e. faith, you're going to be kings! Yay! If God, we are told, is infinite, then God should pervade everything. God should therefore be evident. If God transcends the senses in a manner that precludes evidence in a way similar to other supernatural claims, there is no rational reason to favor the claims of the Bible over the claims of the Hindu traditions, or the Buddhist traditions, etc. How could anyone rationally claim that an omniscient God would provide evidence of the same quality as that which is evidently false? Your only response can be, will amount to, again, magic. God knows his chosen people and they know him. That is essentially saying magic because it is not observable or testable. It seems to fall outside the bounds of any known explanation and it is poorly defined. There is a slippery slope fallacy. For example, sometimes Christians and Muslims I talk with wonder how morality does not completely disintegrate for those who do not believe in a morally prescriptive and just God. I think when I got out of religion, I went on a bit of a bender, but when the smoke cleared, I settled into a pretty moral, mundane life. I think Christians would be surprised by how normal my sins are. The question you have to avoid is, why would someone not believe in something that is purported to be self-evident when the only real cost is praying, believing, and worshiping? And the reward is infinite happiness. Cue the thought blockers. Magic. Whether it is an infinite God or heart condition or a special calling, true Christians feel an ancient book that gives indubitable special insights regardless. You have played the magic card. Perhaps now you can never stop. You can establish logical consistency with ease because you have magic. Logical consistency can be had by anyone willing to play the magic card. For the rest of us, we need evidence, the humility to say, I don't know, when faced with a dearth of it, and the strength to live with uncertainty. No matter how much we would like resolution to life's difficult questions, we resist, because to do otherwise is dishonest. Faith is an act of dishonesty. It is not a virtue. The best thought blocker in the arsenal of the Judeo-Christian tradition is faith is a virtue and doubt is a sin. How Orwellian, don't you think?